James, and welcome back to Scotiabank Arena, where it's the final preseason game for both the Detroit Red Wings and Toronto Maple Leafs. And Mike Johnson, there are still some lineup decisions to be made.
Guys are battling for spots right to the end, showing the coach whatever they can, including versatility. Max Pacioretty, traditionally a left-handed shooting left winger, now playing on the right wing. He's got Bobby McMann who shoots left. He's got Nick Robertson who shoots left. There seems to be three guys battling for two spots on the third line. Someone's going to be on the fourth line. Patrick's trying to make sure it's not him to start the season.
Leafs won 2-0 in Detroit on Thursday night with a lineup that was not that full of NHL players. Tonight, that's the case for Detroit. And Mike, we've seen this a number of times in the preseason where undermanned teams have gone in and beaten teams with NHL-laden lineups. Happened at Toronto in their first preseason game when Ottawa came in and beat them in overtime. That was Wohl's last appearance in the preseason. Played half that game. He'll go the entire way tonight. Ekman Larsson back to pick it up. And Ekman Larsson, one of the offseason additions for the Leafs. Most that puck against Christian Fischer. And Pacioretty pokes at that, knocked down by McMahon, and away they go. But it's knocked away by Albert Johansson, who's making a bid to make the Red Wings blue line. The Red Wings, you mentioned, 3 preseason games in 3 nights. 4 in 5 nights.
And the problem with that so late in the preseason, you got to keep everyone around right to the end.
They can't wait for the regular season to start to get a break. Joe Veleno plays that back, knocked down by Morgan Riley. That goes wide. William Wallinder battles for that puck. Back at the point, here's Riley. Across to Chris Tanev, picked up by Mitch Marner. Looks back for Nye, now picked up by Riley. Riley shoots off the outside of the goal. And that puck moved ahead by Antti Tuomisto. Jonathan Berggren works it and shoots. Dribbling puck knocked away by Wohl. Now battling for it is Carter Mazur. Justin Holl, the former Leaf, shoots and all put that wide. Now Tanev out to center ice, knocked down by Marner. The open door in front of the Detroit bench, and play is called.
Jonathan Berggren was also a late signing for Detroit this year, along with Mo Seider and Lucas Raymond, and he's got a great release, and that's not tremendous neutral zone play for Toronto. Austin Matthews doesn't take a good angle, goes right around him, leaves Chris Tanev in a bad spot, backing up, forcing Joseph Wohl to make a pretty good first save. And the way that Anthony Stolarz has played preseason so far, Joseph Wohl's going to want to have a good effort tonight.
Stolarz was terrific in Detroit on Thursday night. As Johansson goes back to pick it up. One of a bushel of Detroit draft picks in recent years who is battling for a spot. It's brought ahead by Simone Benoit, looking for Max Domi. Now swept ahead for Nylander. In comes William Nylander pivoting back. Nylander lines that back at the point. Benoit, long shot off the glove of Ville Husso. Maybe the most interesting battle in Detroit is which 2 goaltenders, or maybe 3, are going to open the season. Nylander, long shot, that floats wide. Red Wings carried 3 to start the year last year as Nylander moves it and shoots, and Husso makes the stop on William Nylander.
So there's a guy who looks comfortable playing right wing. Who comes in the offensive zone, making plays. The spacing is so instinctive. He's up at the offensive blue line, takes one shot in, and then Max Domi, tremendous pass with the puck, spot Nylander right in the slot, and that's one he thinks he should score on.
Nylander tied his career high with 40 goals last year, a new career high in points with 98. He also played an average of 19 minutes and 55 seconds a game last year.
Something to think about as you watch the Leafs this year. Craig Berube traditionally doesn't play forwards more than 20 minutes. We'll see if those guys, Matthews, Marner, Nylander, get cut back a minute or 2.
Steven Lorentz with it back in the corner to David Kampf. That's kicked away, and here's Reeves on it. Ryan Reeves plays it back around. Knocked down in the corner by Danielson. Still loose at the side of the goal. Kampf battling for it. Rafferty steps into him. And Reeves dumped Danielson behind the goal.
Austin Watson comes to say hello.
Watson got kicked out of the game last night against Ottawa early on in the first period. Long shot by Reeves as he was jousting with Watson on his way off the ice. Leafs will open Wednesday night against Montreal. The next night they'll be in New Jersey to face their former head coach Sheldon Keefe. We'll be there for that. Red Wings open on Thursday night at home against Pittsburgh, but they've got some competition. Oh, look, a deflection in front. Fisher scored. Long point shot and a long deflection by Fisher gives the Red Wings a 1-0 lead.
Timing by the Red Wings. Out last pass here for Max Pacioretty. He goes underneath Holmberg. McMahon's not there, and it's kept in the zone. And the slap pass right on the stick of Fisher, who just cruises in. There's no chance whatsoever to go Wool. If you're gonna go laterally, you gotta make sure to get it on the tape or get it over the blue line. Pacioretty did not do either, and the Red Wings capitalize.
That tip from the Sedin distance.
Everyone's going up ice trying to join the rush, both defensemen, and no security valve.
Benoit plays it back in. Belina goes back. He's crunched there by McMahon. McMahon battling for it again. No Kelly Young-Crook, no Nick Robertson tonight for Toronto. And there's a bottleneck for forward spots with the Leafs as well. Pacioretty and Lorenz are on PTOs.
One of those things where those guys, even if they want to be signed, they can't be until something shakes loose.
Some cap gymnastics will have to be performed.
The other right guys for that in the Toronto organization.
Brandon Pridham. No one fits the beans in the jar quite like he does. Matthews battles forward along the boards, now picked up by Joe Veleno. And Matthews works that free. Matthews lines there with Carter Mazur, and Nyes gave him a bump. And Matthews as well on Carter Mazur. And we have seen injuries in preseason games. This has been an especially rough preseason in terms of injuries and incidents.
And the Leaf bench had plenty of commentary for Mazur on his way off the ice.
Of course, the Leafs were in the middle of it last Saturday in Montreal. The Patrick Laine injury.
Max Domi just came off the bench, forgot about the play, and went to the Detroit bench.
That pass misses Tavares back down the Detroit zone. Husso out to play it. Emil Viro throws it high off the glass. By Tanev and back down the ice. There's Tanev, the off-season free agent signing by Toronto. Grew up here, of course. Was considered too small to play under 16 hockey. He was only 125 pounds. He played high school. Went to the Rochester Institute of Technology. He was an undrafted free agent by Vancouver. The rest is history. In comes Benoit. Drops it back for Tavares. Tees it up and shoots. It's off the stick. Up and out of play.
You mentioned the battle of net. Billy Husso getting the start. And Max Pacioretty, it's a little piece of him going by and quick skates. That can sometimes be called a penalty. That was not. And here's the hit. Just skate through that leg, which drew the ire of the Toronto Maple Leafs. And Austin Matthews has been a pretty durable player in his time in the NHL. But as a young player, Carter Mazur is thinking, I could be in for a long night if that happens early in the game.
Off the face-off, Benoit drops that back. Reeves batting court. Connor Timmins out there as well. His last year, Mike, Connor Timmins led the Leafs in preseason scoring and got injured in the last preseason game against Detroit. Here's Timmins back with it. Soderblom. Got that taken away. Homer Soderblom, the hulking Detroit forward at 6'8", 250 pounds.
He is massive. He's right beside me right now, court on skates. He looks like he's 7 feet tall.
Was close.
He's so much bigger than anyone else, though.
It does look like he's been photoshopped into the game at times. Pacioretty looks ahead for Holmberg. And now Pacioretty on Rafferty. Pacioretty moving as well as we've seen the last 3 or 4 years.
2 years in a row, tearing the Achilles. And he is skating so much freer, more naturally. He was always a fast, straight line skater. And hurt yourself like that, it's going to take a while to get back. And he thinks he is back now.
139 games missed over the last 2 years. Hansen back to center ice. Veleno swings that rink wide for Berggren. Looks towards the goal. It's tipped wide by Veleno. Now picked up by Nylander. He's tied up in the corner. The Red Wings have some competition on Thursday night for their home opener. The Tigers are playing at 6 o'clock. Scheduled to play Game 4 of the ALDS against Cleveland. Berggren sends it back in front of the wall. Terrific stop there on Albert Johansson, who moved up to the blue line. And now Mazur gets some more attention from the Leafs as the Red Wings buzzing the Toronto goal.
Attack opportunity, and they get another chance on very much the same thing. These kind of turnovers in this spot on the ice is exactly what Craig Berube is trying to keep out of Toronto's game. And when you do that, you put your defense in a bad spot and make your goaltender make great saves. And a good one there for Wall, who was rock solid to start the year. Then he had that such a strange ankle injury.
Right.
We didn't even know what was wrong with him. He just sort of leaned up against the post. He came back and wasn't quite as effective down the stretch.
Just 35 games.
And he's the guy now. And I think everyone trusts that if he stays healthy, which has been a challenge, he's more than capable to give top-flight goaltending.
Matthews for the face-off against Sheldon Dries.
And then a new partner in Anthony Stolarz, who statistically, by a per-start basis, you could make the argument was the best goalie in the league last year.
Well, led the league in save percentage among eligible goaltenders at .925.
Goal save above average per start, was first.
The draw, dribbles wide. Drives back on it to the point to Hall. Marner for Riley. Taken away by Michael Brandstad-Nygaard. First round pick of Detroit in the last draft. Terrific Norwegian player who can really shoot it. He spun Matthews around, and bouncing puck goes to Nyes with a quick shot, and Husso the save on that. Here's Nyes to Matthews. Austin Matthews works back in front. Poke check there by Husso. Husso also missed a good chunk of time last year. 49 games with 2 separate injuries. Keeping 3 is difficult though, Mike. A handful of teams did it at a training camp last year. It generally doesn't work.
Montreal tried it, so they traded Jake Allen, but it's not great for any of the 3.
From Soderblom, a shot that was blocked by Benoit. And Timmins back on it. Pass ahead to Reeves. He avoided Soderblom. Hard not to see that coming. And now Benoit. Soderblom has pretty silky hands for a big guy. Lead pass to Reeves. Puts it back in the corner for Lawrence, who was known as Lawrence in his previous NHL stops, but has asked for Lawrence, apparently. There's even discussion within the family about how to say it, so we'll leave the last word to him for now. Lawrence got bumped there by Rafferty. Emil Viro. Third round pick in Detroit in 2020. Looks ahead and finds Andrew Kopp. Michael Rasmussen. Down to Fisher, who has the Detroit goal. Viro. That pass is knocked down by Philippe Myers. And now Rafferty has it back and fires it back down to the Toronto zone. Shots 3-2 leads here midway through the first period. The teams will play 4 times this year, including the Hall of Fame game on November the 8th. Pavel Datsyuk, the great Red Wing, among those being inducted this year. Viro works that free for Kopp. Picked up by Fisher. Last year these teams met just 3 times. Leafs went 1-1-1 against Detroit. Tanev. Lead pass to Tavares. Tavares works in and rolls off his stick. Back in the line is Tanev. Plays it down for Domi. Tavares. Back for Nylander. Works it and shoots from a sharp angle. Husso makes the stop on that. Riley. Plays it back ahead. Tavares. Long shot goes off the shin pad of Veleno. Now Mazur back to Joe Veleno. Works his way in. Berggren. shoots. That was blocked by Tanev. Get used to hearing that this season. That's among his calling cards. As Leno picks it back up. Pass off the stick of Berggren. And back down the Leaf zone as Timmins goes back to pick it up. Centering pass, just tries. Now Benoit takes the puck away from him. Forney pulls his way in. Johansson goes back, being shadowed there by Marner. And here is Mitch Marner with it. Feeds it down to Matthews. Pivots back in the corner. Matthews brings it back across to Marner. And Marner pivots around Johansson. All with it down to Johansson, and Marner steps into him. Matthews got spilled again. Picked up by Dries. Johansson got spun around by Marner behind the play. And brought back ahead by Joe Snively, the former Washington Capital. Flipped back in, and Wool steers that away. Ekman Larson. Up ahead to Lorentz. Pivots back in the corner and swings that back around. Myers steps up for Toronto. He's had a long look at training camp as well, Philippe Myers. His fourth preseason game.
Right side is
Reeves centers a quick chance there and scores! Reeves to Lorentz, and the game is tied.
big smile for Steven Lorentz. Starts way back. Outlet pass to space with speed. Allows Lorentz to get it in deep, stop it up, keep it alive. And that breaks down the D-zone coverage. Myers can step in, work it low, and then you got to win battles. Right there's a strong one. Finish your check. That's why Lorentz is open. He knocked the guy, covered him on his backside. You love to see it. Sits him down. Nate Daniels in, and then goes to the front of the net. Reeves makes a play, ties the game. That is a fourth line dream shift for a coach.
Reds scored once last year in 38 games for Florida. Scored twice in the playoffs. Oh, that's a hit by Pacioretty. Smashed into Tomisto. Now Tanev with it. So no matter how you say it, it's a big goal for Lorentz in the preseason.
Trying to get that contract. They love his energy and his sort of personality. Even though he's new in the room, he's made an impression off the ice already.
The puck frozen by Husso. David Lorentz, a 28-year-old from Kitchener, as his first of the preseason in a 1-1 tie in Toronto.
The number one objective for every player in this game, get out of it healthy. And Austin Matthews, couple collisions. Leafs didn't like that sort of leg-on-leg hit, and get tied up again with Dries and knocked down. That one wasn't so bad, incidental. Austin Matthews just getting into his second preseason game. Doesn't need much time to warm up for the year, but wearing the C, wants to get in the rhythm early for him and his team. Good news is he's going to be playing with guys he's played half a decade with. Or in Matthew Nyes, they apparently spent all summer playing tennis against each other.
With the results somewhat disputed,
Still up in the air.
I think we need a televised match.
Feels that that would be the prudent play to decide it once and for all.
Might need a full set of officials though, chair umpire, lines people. Sounds like it gets a little testy, so. Nylander had that bounce off his stick. Berggren to Mazur. Back to the point to Misto, a long shot. And Wool makes the save on that.
A lot of pressure, obviously, when you play in Toronto, when you're in net. And Joseph Woll seems like he is built to handle it. Great perspective, a calm demeanor to him, sort of interest outside of the game where he does other things to keep his mind at ease. And I don't know how you can train to stay healthy. No one trains to try to be injured, but like, that's seemingly the biggest question mark for him, Gord, is just will he stay healthy?
Talked about core stability.
Yeah, balance and stuff. don't know if that's going to help his ankle, those kind of injuries, but maybe.
Lead pass to Snively. And a handful of games for Washington over the last 3 years. Ransek Nygaard had that skip away on his 19th birthday. Big year for him last year. Played for Norway at the World Junior Championship, the men's worlds. That centering pass misfired. Back at the point. Marner with a long shot. That's wide. Ekman Larsson back to Matthews. Looking for the deflection from Marner. Just missed.
Good was that touch of Ekman Larsson off the boards one time.
Hand pass called here. 5:43 to go in the opening period. Toronto and Detroit tied at 1. Let's take it back to the end of last regular season. David Perron of Detroit, with the Red Wings battling for a playoff spot, scores to send the game to overtime against Montreal. That eliminates Philadelphia, but John Tortorella didn't know that. Pulls his goaltender in a 1-1 game. Washington's TJ Oshie scores the empty netter, the regulation win, eliminates Detroit from the playoffs. The Red Wings won their shootout against Montreal, but they knew by then they'd been eliminated. Detroit tied with Washington for the last spot, but the Caps had more regulation wins and got the playoff spot.
Someone should have put a call in, an SOS to Torts saying you're out, keep your goalie in the net.
It happened about a minute apart.
Yeah.
Had Tortorella known and left his goaltender in,
Detroit would have made it.
well, might have. I mean, Washington had the edge on them in regulation wins anyway. So if Washington had won the game,
yeah, if Philly would have won it at some point, then it would have turned out different.
Yeah.
That was a furious last week for Detroit.
Oh. Tanev shoots, tipped in front. Husso makes a good stop there. The little battle for Reeves. And Lorentz was in there battling as well. Another good fourth line shift for Toronto. Here's Tanev back with it. And Riley lifts it ahead. Just Reeves with that pass, and back is Molina to pick it up. Andrew Kopp works in, plays it back for Fisher. And Tamiso has that knocked away by Pacioretty.
I think McMahon's got to grab a hook.
And so Pacioretty was on a partial break, but the whistle sounds and Detroit's going to the power play.
So when you're going to make a change and you're the last guy out there, Ryan Reeves peels off early. And that allows Detroit to make a quick up. And so everyone's chasing from Toronto on the bench, and that puts McMahon in a spot where he's behind his player and has to get a hook in Fisher's hands. Clearly a penalty. And that was late in the shift because the same fourth line had gotten out of the offense zone, got it back to the point, and this is what they do well. Get at the front, crash, bang, tip, look for rebounds, and they almost get a second goal on the board. If Ryan Reeves could do that over Gore, just hang on the wall. Just wait for everyone else to get out there. Then you make your change so that Detroit can't quick up the puck.
And this is the area we've talked about that Toronto needs to improve the most. Penalty kill rate 22nd in the NHL last year. Struggled with the playoff series against Boston as well.
Preseason matters, they've been pretty good.
Yeah. Lineups are different. Here's Kopp with it. Sends that back across. Berggren sends that ahead. We mentioned Detroit missing the playoffs last year, so that's 8 straight years for them. The 3 longest playoff droughts in the NHL are in the Atlantic Division. Buffalo at 13 years. Detroit and Ottawa not far behind. The 2 longest playoff streaks making it, also in the Atlantic Division. Toronto and Boston at 8 years each. Kopp plays it back for Berggren. Rossi goes to Snively. Breaks it down to the goal up for Kopp, plays it back across, and Camp took that away from Berggren. And then he'll get a penalty for that, spilling Berggren. So a 5-on-3 coming for Detroit for 54 seconds.
Camp, who made the nice defensive play to knock the first chance away right before picking up the penalty.
Toronto, number 64, minor penalty. Cross check.
And in the rotation, the new Toronto Maple Leafs trying to sort out their penalty kill, which means flushing with the strong side. Holmberg pushes down. Camp's got to drop down and get the back door. He does. And it's not a hard one, but if you play, you know that the push on the hips almost down is both dangerous and really can knock you off balance. And David Camp tried to give a little shove, did not get away with it. And so it's a pretty good run here. 54 seconds, 5-on-3. And watch this guy, Brandsen Nygaard, shoot the puck. He's going to be playing on the left point. He can absolutely hammer it.
We saw him at the World Championship last year in Prague. He was terrific as an 18-year-old for an undermanned Norwegian team. Here comes Brandsen Nygaard, shoots, and the ball makes the stop, and there it is.
As advertised. And that's not even a good play on a 5-on-3. You know, it's a slow-moving play. You're not one-time on the puck. Yes, you can shoot it. And basically what you're saying is, I think I could score on a slightly screened wrister, me and the goalie from 35 feet. You have to have a pretty great shot to be able to do that.
So Hansen plays across to Brandsen Nygaard, takes the return pass. They play pitch and catch and back to Danielson. Nate Danielson, a first-round pick a couple of years ago, plays it back across. Brandsen Nygaard winds and shoots again. Just missed high.
He just flicks it right from the toe of his stick.
Danielson goes back door, another chance, and Peregrine at the side of the goalie in an empty net. Johansson plays it back, and Brandsen Nygaard fan on that one. 10 seconds to go on the first penalty. Danielson shoots. Knocked down by Brandsen Nygaard. Johansson, Danielson, Brandsen Nygaard tees it up, blocked by Tanev. Danielson fires, wall save. Brandsen Nygaard shoots again in the goalpost.
Oh, yeah, in the corner.
That's 4 attempts on this power play for Brandsen Nygaard. Someone in Detroit thinks he already has the best shot on their team. Peregrine, Danielson, and on that, Tanev gets a second whack and knocks it out. Peregrine sends it ahead. Rasmussen, stopped by Wall, and Brandsen Nygaard jumping in. He's had lots of chances, but Wall, a terrific stop there.
What a save! Have a little conversation about how good it was. And change for Toronto Maple Leafs, and they got stuck going wide to the boards, and Wall bails out the defenders with the rebound stop. My goodness. What a save on Brandsen Nygaard. Gets across, makes a save, seals the rebound as well. And even time for a little commentary with the guy he just took it away from. Happy birthday, no dice, Brandsen Nygaard. Turns 19 today. Oh. Another one though, you come off the bench, you can protect the middle of the ice.
Linder plays that down to Snively. Linder shoots, goes off a leg, Copp with a chance, scores! Andrew Copp on the power play restores the Detroit lead.
After a flurry of chances on the 5-on-3, they win the face-off. It's Copp who digs in to win it, and shot is blocked on the way through, but just bounces right to Copp. Woll picks it up late. He just sweeps it in the empty net. Not much you can do here. Bad bounce. The key is not to lose the face-off as cleanly as Holmberg did in that sequence. Andrew Copp, one of the rare veterans playing for Detroit, gets on the board.
Had 13 goals last year. Native of Michigan. There's a whole whack of Detroit players and prospects from Michigan. The former Winnipeg Jet and New York Ranger. Signed as a free agent by the Red Wings.
Yes. Oh, he was in. He had to jump it. What a good idea.
Pass hit Domi's heel. Now Nylander. Back across to Timmins, who slides it back down to the Red Wing zone. Here's Timmins back with it. Cross he goes to Nylander. Nylander works in. And Fisher has that knocked away. Rafferty spins it back down to the Leaf zone. Fisher centers it, and that fluttering puck bounced wide as Copp had another look. Here's Matthews back with it.
Last minute of play in the first period.
Ekman Larsson being forced there by Rasmussen. Love down by Kopp, but the play's offside at the Toronto line.
A certain degree of pride you take when you come into another team's building with a roster like this. If you're Detroit, and say, listen, we're pretty good players too. We can hang with what is basically the starting lineup for the Toronto Maple Leafs. And this little play from behind the back of the net, turned aside. Prolonged. To get his team over the hump. Now, they will be challenged. They had a great shooting season last year, Gord.
Right. And they also won 14 games last year when trailing in the third period. That tied the league lead, which is great that you came back that often. Very hard to replicate.
Yeah. So they have to get better in other areas to make up for what is a very likely regression in some of those things that went their way.
And goals against, they were 24th in the league last year. That's their 8th straight year in the bottom third of the league in goals against.
Husso, Talbot, Lyon. I'm not sure how it plays out. Husso makes the most money of them, but he's probably the one who's maybe number 3 in the depth chart right now. You probably could get him through waivers if you wanted to,
right?
Because of the contract, but you don't want $5 million in the minors. And, I'm not sure how this one's going to play out. He doesn't want to play with 3 goaltenders, but neither does Alex Lyon or Cam Talbot.
And the old saying, if you got 3, you probably don't have one you like. Marner. Long shot, hit the leg in front. Now Riley back with it. Morgan Riley works in, feeds it across. Marner gets the shot away and a blocker stopped by Husso. Knocked back up by Berggren and picked up by Tanev. Across to Riley. And the pass goes off a stick and back down the ice as Hall goes back, being shouted there by Nye. So Hansen had it taken away by Riley. Drop back by Nye. Snap is a long shot, but just wide. So Nye ran into Matthews from behind. And time expires at the end of the opening period.
Couple good chances late for the first line of the Toronto Maple Leafs, and Morgan Riley's locked in on Marner, trying to find a seam. Look for him far side, look for him. There he gets it. That's a good shot, but a better save. Ville Husso. Well done to keep his team ahead by 1 at the end of 1.
Time now for our first intermission with James Duffy in the panel. With the scoring with his second of the preseason, but then Steven Lorentz gets his first in the preseason for the Leafs, and Andrew Kopp replies on the power play. Kopp with a goal and an assist in the opening period. Let's join Mark Masters.
Gord, this morning I asked Craig Berube about Max Domi, and this is how he started his answer.
Well, Max. I'm buddies with Ty, so he's in my head a lot. He texts me, So I've called Max Ty a few times too, but
I wondered if perhaps they had talked about the battles they had, Ty Domi and Craig Berube, over the years, like this one in 1991, and Berube just laughed and said, and sure, Max has seen the videos. Ty Domi 3rd all-time in penalty minutes, Berube is 7th, so he had run-ins with a lot of guys over the years, including our own Mike Johnson. This is from 1999. MJ, what are you thinking here?
Oh, no! That's exactly what I was thinking in the moment. That's when he very calmly said, if you don't move, you won't die. And so I decided not to move anymore. As Craig Berube, a physical player that had a long, storied career.
Yeah.
And of course, Max's dad, Ty, former teammate of mine. We had some battles with Craig Berube's Philadelphia Flyer team, including in the playoffs. And the tension ran pretty high in those games, Gord. That was my first fight. I got 2 of them in the same sequence. It was a tough night.
Well, I gotta say, you might have picked a smaller mountain to climb.
Well, that was after Luke Richardson handled it to me for a while. And then after he was done, then Craig Berube decided he would as well. Tough night.
Did you not get the hockey news, or is it, you're not aware of who these guys were?
It was not by choice, Gord. You know me better than that.
That dribbles down to Wool as the teams begin the second period of 5-on-5. Kopp plays that back to Rafferty. Long shot got through the traffic. And Wool makes the stop. And you're older and wiser. In fact, Mike, Happy birthday.
Boy. Here we go.
50 on Thursday. So happy birthday to you, you fresh-faced youngster. This is you just out of Bowling Green State University.
Yes. Thank you, Gord. Is that what you were waiting for? You didn't want to wish me happy birthday on my birthday?
That's
you waited
exactly
for us?
what I was waiting.
I see. But everyone else in the crew managed to get on their phone and say happy birthday.
But I wanted to wait for this to do it in front of everyone.
Thank you for the lovely
Now,
surprise.
one thing, Mike, you're 50 now.
Thank you
Which
again.
means you cannot wear running shoes with your suits anymore. That's a thing. Once you're over 50, there's a penalty coming to Detroit. Bergen's going to go for a hook here. Marner works back in. The extra skater comes on. It's Nylander. Takes that pass and walks in. 3-point for Matthews. Oh, what a save by Husso. Nylander came off the bench and put that on a tee for Austin Matthews.
What a play. That was a lot like the save on Marner earlier. Seam pass. Husso gets across and takes it away. As it's Nylander who steps off the bench after Detroit gets called for the hook on Matthews. Here comes Nylander and he hits the seam. Oh, that's a good save. Matthews doesn't get it quite in the top of the net like he would want it, but still, Billy Husso, another dynamite robbery.
You know, we talked about in the first period, Mike, about the Red Wings keeping 3. They did last year, as we mentioned, and they were quite happy to do it.
The team or the goaltenders?
Well,
team, yes. Goalies, in an honest moment, probably not so much. But hey, you're in the NHL, better than the alternative.
back to the power play. Matthews drops that off to Nylander. As it back up, it goes Rick Wine for Riley. Morgan Riley back down to Marner for Tavares. That's poked away by Rasmussen and back out to center ice.
Here's this first unit, same 5 guys as usual, Gord, that were really good most of the year, but struggled down the stretch and into the playoffs.
And away comes Matthews. Marner trying to center it in the feet of Tavares. Kick 3 by Kopp. Rattled around by Verlander, but not out. Nylander spins it back across to Marner. To Riley. To Nylander. Matthews. Back for Riley. Feeds it back, and a hard shot by Nylander, stopped by Husso.
Whole sequence in the offensive zone starts with William Nylander keeping the puck in on a clear. Really good job. And they work it around. There's a lot of fluidity in this group when it works at its best. Moving parts, interchanging positions, ends up with a one-timer from Nylander, who can't get it quite high enough to get over the pad of Husso, who makes another good save.
Mark Savard, the assistant coach in charge of the power play. Lane Lambert now runs the penalty kill. Domi a shot, tipped wide by Nye. Pacioretty shoots from a sharp angle, and Husso makes the stop on him.
Now I wonder, Gord, regular season, the first unit went for 55 seconds. Last year they wouldn't have pulled them.
Right.
They would have gone to 90 or 100 seconds. Preseason, maybe they make that change. We'll see next week what they decide to do. But they have a lot of talented players, including Max Pacioretty, who looks to bank win in off Husso. But that's something to watch as well. New coaches, how long do they give the first unit every power play? Because they want a minute and a half.
Right. McMahon for the face-off.
Part of the issue with this second unit. They don't have a center out there.
Lead pass for Pacioretty. Centering pass just missed McMahon. Ekman Larson leaves it back for Wool as Ekman Larson goes back to pick it up. It'll be the spring of 2031 when the Vancouver Canucks give him his last paycheck after buying out the last 4 years of his deal.
Somewhere Bobby Bonilla is nodding, smiling, saying, yes, that is right.
Of course, Ekman Larson goes on to Florida, wins the Stanley Cup with the Panthers. Pacioretty taps that back to McMahon with a shot, and Husso makes the stop on him.
Tell you what, Husso has made some saves in this game. And not just that, Gord, he hasn't spit the pucks back out into dangerous spots after making difficult saves. And good entry. Bit of a broken play, and it gets over to McMahon, who can really shoot the puck, and Husso fights it off, squeezes it, and keeps it away from any potential rebound opportunity.
Matthews with a face-off against Valeno. 9 seconds to go on the power play. Marner He's it back up for Matthews. Scores! No stopping that one.
That's getting it up. Woo. Well, that is some kind of shot. Now watch this. They put Tanev up on the inner hash because they want Marner with the puck. And what does Marner do with it? He walks in, he creates an angle, and gets the puck to Matthews. They understand they have 10 seconds on the clock to attack while still in the power play. Flat pass. It's the exact same shot he took last time, but this one, he gets up in the top part of the net to tie the game. That's well thought out. Moving the defenseman around, recognizing the situation, the time on the clock, and then executing.
That's 2 in 2 preseason games for Austin Matthews, who led the league with 69 goals last year, the most scored in NHL season since Mario Lemieux had that many in 95-96.
If they revisit the quiz, everyone said he just had a 34% chance of doing 70 goals. I don't know. This makes it look easy when it's not.
5 straight 40-goal years for Matthews. 6 hat-tricks last year.
Chance to become the all-time franchise-leading goal scorer this year with 50+.
Lorenzo with a shot that was blocked. Picked up by Cam. Cam back for Tanev. Tanev had a pass blocked by Mazur. Now Riley has to retreat.
52 on the power play.
Riley flips it back in. It's knocked down by Vero. Played back down to the lead line. 2-2 to score here in the second period. Nylander threads it ahead for Tavares. John Tavares winds in, shoots. Tavares turned away again as Husso made the stop, but now Riley back with it. Morgan Riley feeds it down to Nylander. Kicks it back for Domi. Domi drops it off for Nylander, winding back in, shoots short side, and Husso makes the glove save.
Nylander just did a lap getting that puck. He wants it. He's flying around out there. Here, give it to me.
Here he comes again.
Oh, he had him.
And that pass for Tavares tipped away, or he was alone in front.
That's offensive players recognize momentum, some chances, and he's trying to capitalize that as walking Colliner to the middle. Tavares one-on-one gets to the front of the net. Here goes Nylander. So keep it coming around the world. I'm coming. I want it. There I am. And when he gets the puck up here, he is a handful for anyone to cover. And teams just back off, which give him more time and space because they're afraid to challenge him that high up the ice.
Shots are 8-1 leaps here in the second period. Great vibe here tonight. Lots of young people. Enthusiastic crowd. Drop back to Marner. Taps that back to Myers. Here's Nyes back on it. Nyes taken down behind the net by Verlander. Penalty coming to Detroit as Nyes jammed at that. And Toronto's going back to the power play.
That is all Matthew Nyes. His size and strength. Battling for loose pucks and keeping his feet moving. It's easy to get pinned in here, but he gets going up the ice, stops it back again. Knocks over Danielson, keeps his feet moving, then draws a penalty on Hollander, and that's what he's out there for Marner and Matthews. Dig it out, keep it alive, get to open ice, help us with the offense, or draw a penalty.
Toronto 1 for 1 on the power play. That goal by Matthews. All set by Riley and back down the ice. Cole is back to pick it up and leaves it there for Morgan Riley. During his 12th NHL season. Leaves it off for Marner. Marner for Matthews. Riley back to Tavares. Matthews taps it back to Riley for Marner. Rink wide to Matthews. Matthews back for Nylander. Matthews throws it back for Marner. Slides it back in front. Husso snakes out the right pad and takes that away.
I think that was going to be a pass from Marner looking for Tavares' stick as they're trying to get one on the power play, which Matthew Knies earned. And even when you're an established player, an important player, that feels good. Little touch like that from the coach, little acknowledgement of the work you've done, even though you're not going to be on the power play. You got one for the big guys. Little moments like that give you a little boost. Even for players who don't really need it. Matthew Knies is well established on this team, but it still feels good.
Nylander for the face-off. Tap back by Tavares for Riley. Morgan Riley back for Matthews, who bats that down, plays it back for Riley, moves it and shoots. That's blocked. Now Riley has to hustle back with Dries bearing in on him. Riley drops that back to Marner and across to Matthews. Austin Watson almost took that away, and then Danielson did. Off the bench comes Max Domi. That's knocked down by Ekman Larson, but the puck came out. Danielson was almost off to the races. And Nylander back to pick it up. Ekman Larson for Domi. Drops it back for Max Pacioretty. To Knies. Knies moves it and shoots, and Husso got just a piece of that.
Pretty good save.
Domi. Back down to Pacioretty. That skipped away from Domi. And Fisher was pressuring him. Ekman Larson back with it. Puts that back down to the Detroit zone. Vero. At the clearing attempt knocked down by Pacioretty. One shot for Toronto on that power play as Wallinder steps back on. Ekman Larson shoots. That's off Johansson and wide. Ekman Larson back in deep, looks back, and the shot by McMahon goes off the stick. Up and out of play. 12:49 to go here in the second period. Austin Matthews is struck again. It's a 2-2 tie on this Saturday night.
You don't want to be giving Austin Matthews too many looks from the same spot. He gets a one-timer, doesn't quite catch the way he wants, no goal. Same spot, same one-timer, back of the net. That's what you do when you get multiple looks. You can't give a good player a bad pass. Well, I guess that's why. Waist high, not a problem. Knocks it down like it's tape to tape and keeps the play alive. He is just in his second game, Gord, but in mid-season form, two games, 2 goals, as he has been the leading goal scorer in the league since he has entered by a pretty considerable margin, 40 goals over Ovi at this point.
And no one scored more goals from really sharp angles like Matthews and Draisaitl.
Get their feet on, doesn't matter if their feet are on the goal line or even below. They're accurate enough to put it where they want.
Lead pass by Tomisto misfired. And the face-off back down to the Detroit zone.
Austin Matthews very publicly given the C this summer. I think everyone could recognize why it made sense, but it still could have been an awkward moment or difficult, but I think the way John Tavares handled it made that never an issue, could never be brought up as a problem, all because of the grace Tavares had dealing with it.
Knocked wide by Mazur. Back at the point, Wallinder. But Tomisto, long shot glove by Joe Wool.
You see Tomisto, one of these several young defenders. Now, the problem is there are so many defensemen under contract for Detroit.
Right.
And Justin Hall was given a free agent deal last summer, and he was a healthy scratch for a long stretch of the season. And they got Olli Määttä. Simon Edvinsson,
yeah,
looks like he's going to be in the NHL this year. Got Mo Seider there, Jeff Petrie, on they go. Gustafsson, Eric Gustafsson as well. If everyone's healthy, there will be quality NHLers on quality contracts, not playing defense for Detroit.
Camp with it. Knocked back in. Right to Misto. Here's Philippe Myers. Long shoot and knocked down by Wallinder. You might have noticed that the Red Wings name bars look different than you used to. That's Paul Boyer, the longtime equipment man for Detroit. Well, with the Red Wings, you have to earn the arched name bar. That's what they use in the regular season, but in the preseason, they use these more standard horizontal bars. If you make the team, you get the arched Detroit name bar. That's so famous by Yzerman and Lidstrom and company. Now, done for a reason. A, you got to earn it, but B, when they were first doing it in the 90s, those arched name bars had to be hand cut. Too hard to do it for everyone in training camp.
Right.
So they waited for the start of the regular season. But kind of a thing to earn the NHL jersey. Reeves plays it back in. These two iconic original 6 franchises. Only played 3 times last year. And there is talk about reducing the number of preseason games.
I remember a world where these two teams were in the Western Conference together.
Yeah.
I played in that league.
In the original 21.
Not quite that old.
Then comes Camp to play it around. And I guess it was 24 by then. Snively works it back in. But if you were to go to, say, 4 preseason games, I'd be in favor of adding 2 regular season games, go to 84, so that you play everyone in your division at least 4 times. Here's Riley with it. A long shot deflects wide. Toronto and Ottawa only played 3 times this year. Marner. And then taken over by Danielson, moving away from Nyes, who got his stick in there briefly. Now Soderblom. As it goes for Bransek Nygaard, who, by the way, had 5 shot attempts in the first period, all in that 1 power play. Soderblom.
A nice pivot for the big man. You talked about how smooth he can be for a big guy.
Moves it on Riley. Now Tavares spills Compton behind the goal. Rasmussen goes in on Riley. Fisher back with it. Sends it back in front. That puck bounced away. Comisto feeds it back to Rasmussen. Pop. Pass that back in front. Picked up by Tavares, who chips it out. Here's Kopp. And taken away by Riley. Lead pass for Tavares, who flips it down. And back to center ice. Here's Timmins back to pick it up.
Timmins, who has played himself higher up the depth chart with another good preseason.
If he hadn't been hurt last year, you wonder how different things would have been for him. Right out of training camp is Nylander, pivots back in the corner. Nylander back with it. Spreads it back in front, bouncing puck skipped away. Rasmussen has it back. For Jonathan Berggren. And that's going to be a penalty on Simone Benoit.
Get us.
And they're checking on Berggren as Detroit will go to the power play in a 2-2 tie in the second.
Right, back to the power play as Benoit looks to step up on Berggren, and he got called for the rough as Berggren slows up, and Benoit does extend a little bit and catches Berggren up high, even though up high was down low in that moment. Craig Berube says, "What's wrong with that hit?"
That's exactly what he said.
But I think it wasn't straight through the body. Berggren had slowed down. Benoit sort of reached to get a piece of the center of Berggren's body, got him up high, and that's the rough. So put Detroit back on the power play, where finally the perfect PK of Toronto was foiled by Andrew Kopp in the first period. So it's a young crowd.
Yeah, we saw Benoit last year take 3 minors in a preseason game, and you wonder if that maybe sunk his chances of making the team, but able to hang in.
The way I look at it now, the more minors he takes, the better his year is going to be in the preseason.
Which is counterintuitive, but
based on last year, we'll go with it.
Johansson needs that back around to Veleno. And they'll move back to center ice. I mentioned there's Albert Johansson fitting to make this team. That pass across is knocked down on the there by Lorenz.
I think it was Nick Lidstrom who could kind of do that initially better than anyone. And now everyone in the league can do that.
Bouncing puck, and Johansson knocked that away as he spins back. Here's Valeno with it. Snively drops it back. Berggren has it taken away. I mentioned Detroit had played the last 2 nights in the preseason with basically its NHL lineup. Losses to Toronto on Thursday night and in overtime to Ottawa last night. But a grueling preseason schedule. We mentioned 8 games for the Wings, 4 and 5 nights, including 3 and 3 nights to end it. 8 total preseason games for Detroit.
That's old school numbers.
Valiner held down at the line. Plays it back down to Danielson. The centering pass for Mazur knocked away. Matthews has it back. Short-handed. Complete. Myers jumping in. Matthews walks it and shoots and fired that wide. Played back in by Rasmussen. Brunsek Nygaard. Plays that back across. Here's Mazur with it. Inside 20 seconds to go in the Detroit power play. That clearing attempt. Bounce to Nyes.
Keep skating.
He's got Holmberg with him. In comes Nyes. Looking for Holmberg. That was knocked away.
That was the play. Got the D to pivot. Just hit a skate.
Rasmussen back the other way. Rasmussen shoots. It's off the stick of Tanev, up and out as the penalty to Benoit expired.
And so new coaching staff for the Toronto Maple Leafs in large part. Lane Lambert down with the forwards, but is in charge of the penalty kill. And you can tell while he watches the PK, he is intense. He is into it. He sees something, gets in Craig Berube's ear. Have a little quick chat there. Sorry, Mark Savard, you got to wait for the power play. Then you get to talk to the head coach. He's up and down off the bench. He does a lot of coaching as he is right now with Matthews and Marner. This is the continual feedback that you are looking for as you are trying to take information and have it become instinctive.
We're head coach of the Islanders, the Stanley Cup winner as an assistant with Washington. Watson tried to chip at that, knocked down and brought back up by Myers for Nylander, who chips out ahead. Rafferty out to center ice, and Nylander leaves it there for Myers. Here's Vero with it. Domi back for Tavares. It's ticked away by Austin Watson. Now Vero back with it for Soderblom. Up to center ice. Ekman Larson goes back. Icing called against the Red Wings. So Derek Lalonde in his 3rd year behind the bench of the Wings, and there has been change in Detroit. Steve Yzerman took over in the summer of 2019. The following year, 38 players played for Detroit. One's left, Dylan Larkin.
And the slow rebuild has been a slow turnover of everybody. And they got close last year.
Painfully close.
They're also victimized by being in this very top-heavy division.
So the question is, Mike, which of the 4 at the bottom of the division, Detroit, Buffalo, Ottawa, Montreal, can make a push and make it, and at the expense of who?
Well, that's the thing. It's the other side of the same coin. Which of the top 4 is going to drop enough to allow one of these bottom 4 to go catch them? Now, Detroit was really close, but Buffalo, not that close. Montreal and Ottawa are miles away last year. So even if you think Boston's a little weaker, if Tampa's a bit thinner, it's a long way to go to catch them.
Now, could 5 teams in the Atlantic make it? Possible, but there's pretty good teams in the Metro as well.
Well, the way the Devils are looking, they're going to be back in business this year.
Pacioretty throws that rink wide. Some people thought Washington was a bit of a blip.
They are.
Last year.
But they're probably better this year than they were last year when they made it. Oh, my goodness. Pass.
Breezeball escapes. Now McMahon with a chance. Turn over by Husso.
Connor Timmins just wired it into the ankle of David Breezeball, the lineman. Popped right to McMahon's stick.
McMahon back for Pacioretty. Banks it back for Tanev. Shoots. Looking for the tip by McMahon in front. Costs 11-1 Toronto in the period at one point. And now Tanev works it back. Pacioretty back for Tanev. That just missed. Matthews back with it. This is Matthews with Holmberg and Pacioretty for the moment. As Matthews winds across, drops it back to Riley. Cross for Tanev. Off the bench comes Marner on the change. Marner winds in, holds and shoots, and Husso makes the stop on that. Marner back with it. Nyes comes on. Matthews. Back for Riley. In for Matthews. And Austin Matthews drops it back to Marner. That long shot goes just wide. Back to Matthews. Spins back in front and shoots, and Husso makes the stop on that. Quick keep away in the offensive zone. And now the Red Wings ice it, and they've got exhausted players on the ice.
That is 2 full shifts for Toronto on against the same group of Detroit defenders, and they're going to stay out there.
And all 5 Red Wings have been on for 1:45.
Look at this pass court. This is like you trying to hit me up the ice. Where are you going with that one?
How do you know that?
But it ends up with this huge sequence. Marner off the bench. Detroit's having a hard time identifying players coming off the bench. Now this is a bank shot, not much there, but now another change. So a third forward line for Toronto.
Just for the record, I'd have dumped it out. So. Probably into the crowd.
Hang on, what's going on?
Detroit penalty, number 36. 2 minutes to play game.
Now, he potentially broke his stick.
Wow. Okay, so
Christian Fischer's right in front of me. He's saying my stick was broken and I leaned on it to check it, and it's broken and hit Derek Lamont's not that strong. He's breaking the thing in half. World Strongman competition. Like, what are we doing here? Now, this is a call you make out of principle in preseason. How much do you see this in the regular season? I'm not so sure, but let's see. Here we go. How is this? No, that's broken. That's broken already. In his defense, that was broken already. You can see how easily it snapped, but either way, call's been made. Leafs the power play when we come back. Well, Christian Fischer, watch. Tell me if this is broken beforehand. That is absolutely broken before he leaned on it. Sure, he might have been trying to go to the bench slowly. Derek Lalonde, look, it's broken. But call was made. You're not going to take it back. The debate continues between Garrett Rank, the official, and Christian Fischer. But either way, ends up with Leaf on the power play.
Matthews off the face-off win, drops it back to Nylander for Riley. Back for Nylander. Down to Matthews. Nylander to Riley. Marner shoots. It was off the foot of Johansson. Now Matthews plays that back for Tavares. All got spun around. The puck still was at the side of the goal, picked up by Tavares.
That's a good battle to regain possession.
Here's Matthews back with it. Down to Marner. To Nylander. William Nylander back to Riley. Morgan Riley tees it up for Nylander to Matthews with a bullet that Husso stops. Man.
That entire sequence started with what, a 15 or 20 second battle to get the puck back, and then they work. This is often the Colorado play. They pop this into Nate McKinnon from the opposite side, and Matthews, see him, quick little point to Nylander. He's basically not even looking at the puck because he's moving his body to get in position. The only issue, that puck was not flat, rolling on edge on the bump pass from Nylander, so you lose a little bit of accuracy.
Ekman Larsson back with it. Feeds that back to Domi, shoots at the goalpost.
We had a lot of those last year, Max Domi. A lot of posts and not enough goals.
In comes Rasmussen. Winds in short-handed. Poke check there by Ekman Larsson. And away comes Pacioretty. Lead pass to Ekman Larsson jumping in. Oliver Ekman Larsson. Dropped that back, no one there. Picked up by Austin Watson.
Oh, what a pick by Nyes.
Nyes took that away as it bounces back to Domi. Max Domi walking in, throws it back. Nyes can get a shot away. Husso down. The puck rolled wide. That puck, I think, was knocked down with a high stick. Pacioretty couldn't find it.
Chances for the Leafs. Max Domi, who can really shoot it, even though he doesn't shoot it often enough. You wonder why when you can shoot it that well. Right past Husso, but not past the bar. And the long stick of Ekman Larsson turns it back over. And Matthew Nyes does a lot of this. And they do keep away drills in Arizona in the summer because And Austin Matthews, very good at the stick lift.
Pacioretty keys it back in front. That's knocked away by Johansson. Lifted back down the ice by Mazur. Inside 3 to go in the second period. Now Johansson back with it. One shot for Toronto on that power play as Fisher steps back on the ice. Now Timmins back with it. Over the head of Vero. Emil Vero. Bounced off Rafferty. Brasek Nygaard picks it back up. For Snively. And Foligno goes hunting after on Camp. Timmins looks ahead. That's knocked down by Brasek Nygaard, but it's squirted away from him and bounces to Reeves. Ryan Reeves works in. Got up by Vero. And now Rafferty back with it. Here's Veleno. Joe Veleno. Like John Tavares, granted exceptional player status in junior hockey as a 15-year-old. He was the first player in the Quebec League to get that distinction. Snively. Back around, picked up by Brasek Nygaard. Back for Johansson. For Hall. Hall shoots, it bounces off Nyes and wide. And Matthews back on it. For Marner. Lead pass for Matthews, taken away by Berggren. And banked back out of the Leaf zone. Riley, rink wide for Marner. At the point, here's Benoit, shot the bounce back in front to Marner. Great job to contain that pass on one knee. They'll play it back down to the wing zone.
Last minute of play in the second period.
Soderblom. Banks it around Tavares.
Touch middle. Ooh, Domi was gone if he could get it.
Price plays that back down to the Leaf zone as Benoit goes back. That pass missed everyone. Goes right down the wall.
He wants to get a touch in. He's only had one shot in this period.
15-1 the shots in favor of the Leafs here in the second.
Billy Husso doing a nice job representing well for his case to get starts for Detroit. He's really good in this game.
Tanev goes hustling back, and that pass got it up by Timmins. Up the center ice for Tavares. And time winds down here in the second period. And Austin Matthews has the equalizer. His second in as many preseason games. And it's 2-2 heading for the third period. But first, our second admission with James Duffy. Second period scoring summary. Austin Matthews has his second in 2 preseason games. The Leafs outshot Detroit 15-1 in that period. It's a 2-2 tie. It's been a great preseason for a guy who's not playing tonight. Here's Mark Masters with more.
Yeah, Gord, Toronto's most productive preseason player getting a well-deserved night off. Nick Robertson scored 5 goals in his 4 exhibition outings. During an interview with TSN Hockey insider Darren Dreger yesterday, GM Brad Treliving saying the 23-year-old winger has earned the opportunity to start the season in the NHL for the very first time. Robertson saying today that means a lot to him. In fact, his parents will be coming to Wednesday's game in Montreal. Guys, Robertson attributes a strong camp to improved conditioning after a healthy summer and a more relaxed mindset.
See Kevin LeBanc leading the way in preseason goal scoring. Did that with New Jersey and then signed with Columbus today. New Jersey, of course, opening the season in Prague against Buffalo. LeBanc was there on a PTO.
It's amazing for Robertson that this will be the first time he starts in the NHL because it feels like he's been around a long time.
So, Mike, you've talked about it, you know, the different coaching staff and how that affects different players. And for Robertson, maybe a fresh set of eyes on him.
Well, I mean, it's pretty easy to understand. Listen, if the old coach really liked you, you feel like you're going to a bit of a tougher situation. If the old coach didn't love you, you feel like they have the chance to get into a better situation. I think that's clearly where Nick Robertson is with Craig Berube.
And the fact that his contract situation is different.
Well, the waivers.
Yeah, he'd need to go through waivers.
That does change the dynamic quite a bit.
In comes McMahon on it. McMahon in a battle for a forward spot as well. So if Robertson and Yarncroke we are in, who's out?
Well, there's two guys playing in tonight's game that don't have contracts.
Right, Lorenz and
Pacioretty.
Pacioretty.
So,
by all accounts, Pacioretty's going to get one.
But he might have to wait a couple days until some other stuff shakes loose.
Very good too. Who was in New Jersey when Lou Lamoriello was there and practiced with the team for like 2 months before he got a contract?
Leafs have had that happen a few times too over the years.
Right.
It's not against the rules.
In comes Hall, drops it back for Peregrine. Eyes on it, plays that back down to the Detroit zone. Valeno up for Peregrine. Here's Timmins on it. Up ahead for Benoit and Nylander. William Nylander winding through center ice. Now back to right wing. Kind of the story of his preseason.
I mean, he's had the puck a lot. The Leafs have had the puck a lot, but Nylander's had the puck a lot in tonight's game.
Tavares goes across to Domi. Rinked wide to Ekman Larson, who plays it back in for Tavares. Centers it. And Husso knocked that away from Nylander. Brandstad Nygaard. Brings that ahead. Brandstad Nygaard works back in. Played for Mora last year in the Swedish Allsvenskan, their second league. The Domi moves it in. And when the Red Wings were in Sweden last year, along with the Leafs, Ottawa, Minnesota, Steve Yzerman and Nick Lidstrom and company went from Stockholm up to Mora to watch Brandstad Nygaard play. And Detroit wound up taking him in the first round. Now the question is, where does he play this year? He does not have an assignment clause in his contract, which means that if he doesn't make the Red Wings, which he likely won't, does he play in Grand Rapids or go back to Skellefteå in Sweden, which now has his rights? Skellefteå has loaned him to Detroit, so it's up to the Red Wings to decide. A lot of players will choose to go back to Europe if they don't make the NHL club. Bureau back with it. And Reeves and Bureau are tied up at center ice. That would be a mismatch.
There's a steamroller. Bureau hanging in there trying to keep a puck inside the blue line.
Lorenz plays that back down to the Detroit zone. Verlinder. For Rasmussen, got bodied there by Benoit. And McMahon back to play. Here's Benoit with it. Fires that back down the Red Wing zone. Husso plays it back around. Rasmussen chops at it. It's kept by Timmins. Back for Benoit. Holmberg plays it across. Penalty coming to Detroit now. And the Leafs are going back to the power play. It's under 4 minutes into the third period.
One of the key parts about trying to play offense, Gord, is getting the puck off the wall.
27 minor penalty.
And you kick it off in possession like they do right there. Holmberg has a chance to put the defense in awkward spots. Rasmussen reaches, he goes down. Penalty. And a pretty important day for Detroit Red Wing history. Steve Yzerman, first goal, he followed up with 691 more throughout his illustrious career. And also, Nick Lidstrom named captain on this day in 2006. And obviously, one of the very best defenders of all time.
Detroit penalty to number 27.
Plays it back down for Marner to Tavares. That one just wide. Now Marner back on it.
Rasmussen
For Nylander.
354.
Back to Riley. Feeds it across to Matthews. Back Back at the point to Riley. Feeds it down to Tavares for Matthews. Back in front. Great chance for Marner. Turned away point blank by Husso. Riley shoots. It was off a leg. Among many great accomplishments, Mike, for Steve Yzerman, he was the first player in NHL history to score 500 goals, with more of them coming on the road than at home. Which is very tough to do.
Road warrior.
Matthews lines it across for Tavares, tees it up and shoots, scores! What a pass and what a shot! 3-2 Toronto.
Well, that was something. Austin Matthews already has one on the power play. You see him directing traffic with his stick. Gets it in front. Didn't quite get that one to Marner to the back of the net, but again, takes this loose puck, good race one. How about this move though? And then slide it over mid pirouette and kick it right to Tavares, who then lets the defender slide out of the way and puts it in the back of the net. That is elite level playing on the Toronto Maple Leafs power play. Get their second of the night.
And that's 2 preseason goals in 4 games for John Tavares, who will likely be Toronto's opening night second line center.
Scored by number 91, John Tavares. Assisted by number
The one thing about John Tavares, Mike, is you can pretty much put him in the lineup and in. He's missed 10 games the previous 6 years as a Leaf.
458. Tavares for Matthews and Marner at 4:58.
Here's Berggren
on
with
the
it.
power play.
Working in on Benoit, who muscles him off the puck. Berggren centers it, bouncing puck in front. And Soderblom couldn't reach that as Domi plays it back out. Danielson. Move back in. Red Wings have not had a shot in the last 25 minutes of the game.
Well, for all the times we've seen lesser lineups take the game to established lineups, not the case tonight.
In comes Nylander winding in, holding, and Hall took that away. Hall for Brandstad Nygaard, taken away by Holmberg. And now Johansson back to pick it up. Nygaard had the pass tipped away by Myers. Now Hall back with it. Tomisto. Back to Snively. To Tomisto. Forced there by McMahon. And McMahon works that ahead for Holmberg. Rink wide he goes for Pacioretty. Back for Holmberg. Looks back in deep and McMahon goes after it. Pacioretty. Had that taken away. Here's Wallinder. Snively with it. Last Red Wings shot came 5 minutes into the second period.
I think they're going to evaluate close to Wolves game.
Now a chance in the corner. Matthews took that away, and now Riley plays it back around for Tanev. Chipped up by Marner. Rasmussen back with it. Long shot by Vero, knocked away. Comes Nyes with it. Plays it back around. Matthews after it. Matthews tries to kick that free. Rasmussen plays it back down the ice as Timmins goes back. Timmins ahead for Reeves. Chips that down to the Detroit zone, goes after Johansson. Camp stepped into Hall. Myers back around. And Ekman Larson steps up for Toronto. Camp fell on the Hall. It was brought up by Veleno. Reeves. Gypsy doodle around Veleno. Hello.
Bench just having fun with that. Dancing in the defensive zone.
And there's Nylander back with it. He steps around Brandon Nygaard. Across for Tavares. Throws it back in front. The pass out of the reach of Domi. Brought back by Soderblom. Back for Danielson. Shoots. Wall the save. Couldn't find the rebound for a moment. Soderblom goes the other way.
Tavares stacked the pads on that.
Tavares comes across and makes the stop. So doing it at both ends of the ice. Scores the go-ahead goal to give the Leafs the 3-2 lead. Blocks a shot at the other end to take one away.
John Tavares back playing goal as Woll loses the rebound. Soderblom's got to tuck it in the empty net, and Tavares goes down, tries to stack the pads. Somewhere Billy Ranford smiling. As Woll gets a piece, Tavares gets a piece, he shoves it back in, whatever it takes to keep it out. As Tavares then stays on the ice. Defensive zone faceoffs, and this is where some of the question marks for Toronto. They don't have a righty down the middle. So on that side of the ice, with Yarncrook out of the lineup, they don't really have a guy to take faceoffs on the right side of their own end.
So maybe the comment by Brad Treliving about Nylander being a hybrid player. Brandon Nygaard throws that back.
But then you got to be good at faceoffs, not just a right-handed shooter.
Danielson shoots. Woll makes the stop. Tavares, last season 59%. His third straight year above 58% on faceoff.
Right, and even on his offside, he would be over 50%. So it's not like you have a bad faceoff guy there. Austin Matthews is quite proficient as well, but it's something the Leafs and Craig Berube have to consider when they put the roster together. They're working their lines as the ball gets a little bit busier.
And now Holmberg comes out, and this is where the pressure moves to Holmberg, right? If Tavares is your 2,
yeah, no problem.
Check mark.
And this has been a good night for Toronto, even though they're winning by 1. They've been the better team by a wide margin. But this line has been just okay. And we know how much pressure all 3 of them are feeling to be good, to secure their spots, not on the roster, but in the lineup.
Benoit shoots. It goes off a leg. Benoit fires again. Holmberg drops it back for McMahon, who kind of flubbed on that one, and Husso makes the glove save.
Good motion in the offensive zone. The Leafs have done a good job winning battles on the boards, getting it back to safe spots, and then attacking the middle of the ice. This one goes up the wall and ends up being almost like a little bump play as Holmberg's going to try to kick this to an oncoming McMahon. Just puck doesn't sit flat. He goes underneath it. But you love the motion off the wall with speed. Make the defenders work and make them think.
Marner throws it back in the corner. Ball to line, but not out. Knocked down by Myers. Rosters, except for New Jersey and Buffalo, are due by Tuesday. That shot by Nye, knocked out by Husso. Those 2 teams have basically named theirs as they began the regular season in Prague, and the Devils are off to a 2-0 start. They'll take on the Leafs on Thursday. Our next stop on TSN.
Making fans happy throughout the game as well as in the pregame, as he noticed a fan with a sign, went and signed a stick for him, instructed to get it down there, and To see how excited the young fan was after he signed Mitch Maynor, maybe? Mitch Mayer?
Oh, she spelled it wrong
She
on the
missed it,
side.
but you know what? Like, look at what it means to her. He almost moved to tears.
Nice.
Little things that throwing a puck, giving a stick away. As Mitch Marner and himself another new fan.
Timmins. Long shot goes wide. The unsung part of the game. Here's Nylander with it. He'll thread that pass through the Domi that was knocked down by Johansson, taken down by Timmins, and that'll be a penalty on the Leafs as Detroit goes to the power play with 8.5 to go in the third.
Connor Timmins gets caught trying to step up on Johansson, and he'd be fine except for the swing. If he just pivoted without the swing into the thighs, he would have skated him to the boards.
2 minutes slashing.
But the slash, which was not heavy in the thigh, but it looked like he knocked him down, and so Toronto goes to the penalty kill. Detroit to the power play. They've struck once already. And
Lane Lambert's all queued up for the
he's
Leaf penalty kill, coach.
he's ready to slide down to the other end of the bench.
He might grab a stick at some point.
Listen. The guys know who is invested in the results of this PK.
Lorentz busting it short-handed. Fights off Snively, plays that back, but it's picked off by Kopp.
Timmins 2 for slashing and 11:30.
Good stick by Benoit.
Knocks it back out.
Good skates by Benoit. Look out.
Kopp, by the way, had a power play goal earlier in the game as that went screaming into the Detroit bench.
You gotta be careful up on these benches because things can be dangerous. I thought I saw Alex Tanguay.
Yeah, Tang's
He's already got a whack in the head. We don't need any more bandages on that dome. Hey, he's saying, happy birthday to me, Gord. There you go. My old colleague at NHL Network, played against him for a long, long time.
What a smart player he was. Oh.
And when you worked with him, you knew in one evening, oh, that guy's going to be a coach if he wants. And he's done a nice job climbing the ranks quickly, not surprisingly. Smart, smart player.
Johansson back for Snively. Kopp plays it back for Johansson. That pass was blocked by Holmberg. Valeno to Johansson. Berggren back in front for Kopp. That's knocked away by Myers, but not out. Johansson drops it back for Berggren. Shoots. That's tipped high by Kopp. Johansson back for Snively to Kopp. Johansson across to Berggren. Back for Johansson. Leans on that. Shot it wide. Ekman Larson lifts that back down the ice. That skipped in front of the Detroit bench. Went into the bench. There's a one-hopper into the Red Wing bench.
So the Toronto Maple Leafs working on their penalty kill. We've identified that it needs to get better. So what it is a lot is the pressure by the forwards. So the idea is to cut the ice in half if you're Matthew Nice and press down. If it gets back up, then here comes the next guy, Holmberg. Pressure down on the half wall, and don't let the puck get back to the middle. Pressure down on the half wall and let it play 3-on-4 down low. You don't get it out, split the ice in half, pressure down on the half wall, and they'll give up that shot. That's the rotation with a more stationary defense in front, where the forwards are attacking the puck, not the defense. They want the D staying down around the net and let the forwards do the work up top. And it's worked so far. They've given up one goal in the preseason earlier tonight to Andrew Kopp on a rebound.
Danielson drops it off to Mazur. Back in the line, Valinder. For Mazur. Valinder takes the return pass from Bracek Nygaard, who had 5 shot attempts on a first period power play. There's a long shot by Johansson block. Bracek Nygaard poke check there by Matthews.
See that pressure from Matthews? That got Lane Lambert applauding, because that's exactly what they want. So it's work in progress, but it's improving. Another kill successfully, an important part of the game.
And no shots for Detroit on that power play. Rafferty with it. 22-5 Leafs since the end of the first period. Inside 6 to go here in the third as the preseason wraps up for both these teams. Cam plays it back. Reeves back with it. Next time they face each other, it'll be a very special night in Toronto, the Hall of Fame game on November the 8th.
We got that game.
We do, yeah.
All the panel in the building and all the dignitaries.
Hall of Fame class of 2024. Pavel Datsyuk, Shea Weber, Jeremy Roenick, Ellie Darwitz, Chrissy Wendell-Poole, Colin Campbell, David Poyle. Here's Nylander with it. Spreads it back in front for Tavares. That was tipped away. Good defensive play by Antti Tuomisto. 5 to go in the third. Tavares back across for Tanev. Trying to thread the needle for Nylander. That was knocked down, and Soderblom comes back the other way. Soderblom shoots. It was deflected by Riley high. Now Soderblom back on it. Bumped there by Riley. Soderblom stays on it. That long reach of his. Throws that back to Berggren. Nylander tied up Berggren. Back for Hall. Wallinder back for Danielson with a quick shot. The save is made by Wall. 3-2, Toronto leads with 4:19 to go here in the third period on Molson Leafs Hockey on TSN.
The Leafs are still up 3-2 after another successful penalty kill. And watch, get to know the personality of coaches. This is Lane Lambert on the last PK where they gave up no shots, and he is into it. To the guy behind him with the hat on backwards wondering when the coach gonna sit down, man, trying to watch the game. No shots scored. And he is locked in, and there you see him applauding. Good play.
The guy behind him has to watch the game on the scoreboard.
It's like, no more Leafs penalties, please. I'm trying to watch the game. And some of that passion and ownership of the penalty can be infectious. You can, if you're part of the unit,
right,
you can start to take pride in it the same way clearly Lane Lambert is invested in its success. It's just preseason.
Years ago at the old Winnipeg Arena, the late John Ferguson Sr. was coaching the Jets and used to stand on the bench, and a fan behind him complained, and Fergie turned around and glared at the guy. The Gardens was like that too, right? I mean,
yeah, I used to walk by and grab people's popcorn, and people spilled their beers on you. Yeah, it was good times.
Three and a half to go here in the third. Picked up by Holmberg. Looking for McMahon. Back at the point to Myers. Across he goes to Ekman Larson. Long wrist shot. And that's gloved by Husso.
Well, there's 3:18 left in preseason for both these teams. We heard Austin Matthew mention that they want to get through this game with good habits, but good health. And I think that's what anybody really wants. You get this close to the end, the evaluation is over. Wins or losses, they don't matter after tonight. And now the real work begins. The Leafs will have a day off tomorrow. The Leaf players, but Leaf management will be grinding, figuring out what are we going to do to get our roster ready to start the season.
Marner shoots. That goes just wide. Picked up by Mazur. Bouncing puck knocked down by Timmins. And Matthews goes back. Benoit fires it down. Bumped there by Veleno. And Mazur plays that back down to the Leaf zone. For Nines, who knocks that back down to the Detroit zone. And Hall picks it back up.
Watching Billy Husso, he's probably going to be on the move sooner rather than later.
Looking to the bench for instructions. Nothing yet.
I want Joseph Woll to shoot for the net.
You do you?
I absolutely do.
So plays that out. Rasmussen up for Hall, and they're holding Russo for now. That shot by Snively turned away by Woll, and 2:05 to go here in the third.
Detroit pretty fresh. Don't probably need to call a timeout. They can just get their line out there, although it looks like,
Yeah, Russo's going to go.
I think you get your guys out there, let them play a minute, and if you want, then you can call a timeout if you get a whistle, and keep the same group out there fresh until the end of the game. And Lane Lambert thought Detroit was calling a timeout. He was ready to get to work with his whiteboard, but nope. No timeout either side. And you see Holmberg out there as a second center option in case Austin Matthews can't take the faceoff.
Matthews against Kopp. Kopp wins it. Bergeron. Now sent back down the ice by Benoit. And they'll do it again.
They're trying to suggest that maybe caught a Red Wing at the blue line in the back of the head or the shoulder, but also get a sense of the trust that the coaching staff might have in Benoit. He's out there with Tanev to finish off this game.
Right.
Not lost on the player getting the opportunity.
Kopp with another draw. Brandstad knee guard. Back for Johansson to Bergeron. Bergeron shoots. Roll the save. Matthews battles for it. Johansson. Bergeron. In front of the goal for Rasmussen. Woll is down, and he corrals the loose puck.
I imagine they're going to get Tavares on the ice for the next faceoff. That was two pretty clean wins by Kopp against Matthews.
On comes 91.
Yeah.
Some late instructions from Lane Lambert. They're going to send out Lorenz as well.
So when you got a guy who's, what, 58% last year for Tavares, he's 7-1, 88% in tonight's game. Even on his offside, he's getting the nod. And Lorenz, you want to earn a spot as a fourth line winger? Get out there at this point in the game and do a job.
Another face-off win for Kopp. Bergeron plays it back. Brandstad knee guard for Johansson. Back down to Kopp. 6 skaters on 5 for Detroit. Bergeron. Rink wide, spreads that pass. Brandstad knee guard feeds up to the goal mouth. Mazur couldn't reach it. Woll is down. The puck is loose. He's in the net, but the puck is not.
Woll lost his post there. He was falling over and drifting away from the post instead of sealing it, and that's why Mazur tried to bank it in. He saw a little crevice of space between Woll's arm and the goal. This is a almost fortunate pass, fanned on by Bergeron, but gets across, and watch Woll here. The right skate loses the post, goes outside the post to start, and that's not where you want to be, because there's lots of spots to bank that in from. And well, a little bit fortunate that that one stayed out. And now, as we talked about, Detroit can use their timeout. They're out. These guys are out there for about a minute. Alex Tanguay goes to work, drawing up an offensive sequence for 6 players who have never been on the ice together before at any point in their lives. Which is what happens when you get in a game like this. And then the Leafs a little bit more attentive, because these are the guys that will be doing this come Wednesday when it really matters. Make sure everyone's on the same page. Even the guys who are the next group up. You see 10 players paying attention, more than 10. So know that if someone changes, you're gonna get out there and be on the same page. So back to the first group with Matthews and Marner and Holmberg. Tanev, Ekman, Larson. Kopp is really strong on the face, like strong player.
This time controlled by the Leafs. Banked up Ekman Larson to center ice to Holmberg. That was blocked by Johansson. For Kopp. Mazur plays it back around. Knocked down by Ekman Larson. Houston. Down to Cobb. That's picked up by Matthews.
That's why he's out there. The play he
Backhands
makes.
it down. Johansson goes back. Tied up by Holmberg. And he fights him off with 30 seconds to go in the period. Berggren plays it back in. Timmins goes back. And that goes out, straight out. That's going to be a penalty on the Leafs with 19.7 seconds left.
It's Timmins coming around the boards on a rolling puck and wanting to get it into the glass hard and sailing it.
Number 25, 2 minutes delay game.
Now, quick reminder, new rule in the NHL, you can challenge this if you believe it
Yes.
was deflected or it caught a piece of glass. Nice play by Austin Matthews out of the corner nicely. Holmberg closing ground quickly on a tired Johansson, but can't quite get the goal. That one rockets up. So now 6-on-4.
You cannot challenge if it wasn't called going out.
Can't put a guy in the box, you don't want to take somebody out. There's a face-off win and a game-ending clear for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Well done by David Kampf.
Berggren goes back. Looks ahead for Cobb. Time winds down. The line was held by Berggren. Goes it towards the goal. It's blocked by Laurent. The Leafs win it 3-2. They finish the preseason 4-1-1. Detroit 3-3-2. A grueling 8-game preseason comes to an end for the Wings.
Pretty dominant performance by Toronto. They went almost half a game without allowing a shot against. And yes, Ville Husso was very strong to keep it as close as it was. But the Leafs will be happy with that game. Power play, effective wall, solid, a win, and hopefully good health for the season on Wednesday.
And our opener Thursday as the Leafs take on their former coach Sheldon Keefe in New Jersey. For Mike Johnson, Mark Masters, all of us at TSN, I'm Gordon Miller. Thanks for tuning in. Now stand by for Sports Center with Mark Rowe.